In the year 2500, morning doesn't begin with sunlight. It begins with authorization. Sunrise is obsolete. Ever since the global installation of atmospheric climate blankets, natural light has been managed like a utility. You no longer wake to the sun peeking through your window. You wake to your bedroom ceiling, softly glowing in government-regulated blue, calibrated to ease you into consciousness without triggering rebellion. You stir, reluctantly. Your bed doesn't take kindly to hesitation. It knows your heart rate, your oxygen saturation, and your sleep score, which is currently being compared to the global median. If you don't sit up within 12 seconds of eye movement detection, the mattress inflates slightly just enough to make you feel like your own furniture is judging you. Which, to be fair, it is. You mumble something under your breath. The walls hear it. Everything hears everything now. The mattress logs low verbal enthusiasm and notifies your well-being app. You'll get a push notification later asking if you'd like to attend a joyful readiness workshop. You'll ignore it, like you always do. In the old world, waking up meant groaning, checking your phone, maybe snoozing the alarm 3 times. You remember alarms. They were loud, annoying, and ultimately yours. Now, you're woken by the voice of your childhood dog, digitally recreated with just enough fidelity to be unsettling. Good morning. Human, let's be compliant today. The dog voice, you suspect, is meant to reduce cortisol levels. Instead, it makes you wonder whether the future is just a really well-decorated prison. Your health sync pill dispenser chirps as you walk past. 1 red capsule for hydration, 1 blue for mood balance, 1 clear for cognitive alertness. You're not sick. These aren't medicine. These are just maintenance, like oil for a car or firmware updates for a washing machine. You take them with a swallow of nutrient mist that tastes vaguely like lemon and deeply like surrender. The bathroom has been rebranded. It's now the personal hygiene zone. The sink greets you, welcome to another day of responsible grooming. There's no faucet, just a sensor pad. Water is dispensed in 200 milliliter bursts, monitored by an environmental usage quota. If you exceed your limit, the mirror fogs up in disappointment. Your toothbrush has Wi-Fi. It plays motivational slogans while scrubbing your teeth. Strong enamel builds, strong citizens. You spit into the AI-approved basin, and the waste is analyzed for nutritional efficiency. If you're underfed, you'll get a recommendation to consume an extra protein block. If you're overfed, you'll get an invoice. You used to enjoy showers, steam, privacy, the comforting solitude of hot water hitting your face. Now, you step into a dry spray hygiene unit. You raise your arms. A fine mist disinfects you while a voice tells you you're doing great. The mist is cold, always cold. The system claims it's energizing. You suspect it's punishment for not meeting yesterday's movement goals. Dressed in your adaptive uniform, gray, breathable, and utterly devoid of personality, you step into the kitchen. It recognizes you. It's polite. Welcome, citizen. Preparing morning nutrient event. A warm, cube-shaped breakfast appears in the slot. It's beige. Everything is beige now. Beige is calming. Beige is safe. You sit at your regulation eating station. Chairs are ergonomically optimized to promote digestion and discourage lingering. The cube tastes like almond-flavored cardboard. You chew it slowly, thinking of scrambled eggs. You once had a memory of pancakes, but the system flagged it as a nostalgic distortion, and your memory feed was temporarily restricted. Coffee exists, technically. It's called cognitive brew. It doesn't contain caffeine that was banned in 2407 after the wakefulness riots, but it simulates the feeling of drinking coffee using thermal nerve signals and a hint of bitterness. You sip it. You feel vaguely awake. Not joyful, but awake enough to perform state-approved labor. The screen embedded in your table blinks on. A list appears. Today's assigned objectives. Work. Movement. Emotional calibration. Gratitude logging. You blink twice to confirm receipt. The screen logs your acknowledgement and rewards you with 1 stability token, which you'll never use but must collect anyway. Outside, the city drones hum past your window. They're delivering packages, scanning for elevated cortisol levels, or broadcasting productivity music. The skyline is coded in holographic affirmations. Your potential is a resource. Every breath is a contribution. You miss clouds, even the gray ones. You finish your cube. You wipe your hands on a towel that thanks you for using it. You look in the mirror one last time. The mirror looks back, silently judging the bags under your eyes. The tiny wince you make when you think of the past. It doesn't comment, but it will report it. And then, like every other morning, you open the door, take a deep breath of heavily purified air, and tell yourself, yes, I am still human. For now, you don't commute in 2500. That would imply movement, traffic, maybe even the smell of street food. Romantic, inefficient things. No, your work begins the moment your retinal signature is verified by your workstation, which is not a desk, not an office, but a personal cognitive module, TM, a softly glowing capsule with ergonomic disappointment built into the floor. In the old days, people went to work in office buildings with elevators that smelled like anxiety and break rooms stocked with stale donuts. Now, you step into a silent pod that seals behind you like a very polite coffin. The walls are cushioned in productivity gray. A headband descends from above and gently clamps your temples. It's not painful, just invasive in a way that suggests your thoughts have been placed on lease. Your job has a title, but you're not sure what it means. Something like Interface Harmony Liaison or Semantic Relevance Architect. All you know is it involves staring into a light field and gently correcting how two AI disagree about adjectives. Sometimes, you edit pre-written text to make it 3% more hopeful. Other times, you audit virtual memories for excessive subjectivity. You're not really sure who reads any of it, but the system thanks you every hour with a soothing voice and one additional stability token. Breaks still exist. Legally, they're called authorized pause windows. You get 2 per day, 5 minutes each, during which you're encouraged to stand, hydrate, and engage in stillness. You once tried stretching. The system buzzed and reminded you that unscheduled kinetic expressions can disturb biometric alignment. Your coworkers are not in the pod next to you. You don't see them. You know them only as profile bubbles on your collaboration dashboard. Unit 4C Milo once sent you a winking emoji during a shared task. He was later reassigned to the Mindfulness Center. No one talks about Milo now. Lunch arrives in the form of a quiet beep. The workstation's wall opens to reveal a tray holding a nutritional integrity slab. A square of textured beige that contains everything your body needs and nothing it wants. Once, it accidentally flavored your slab with nutritional nostalgia, and you spent the rest of the afternoon remembering cinnamon rolls and crying softly. The system logged it as a reaction spike and added you to the gratitude oversight list. In the 21st century, people used to leave the office at 5 Stirrup. Tired, annoyed, full of stories. They'd stop for drinks, vent, laugh about useless meetings. In 2500, there's no leaving. The module simply opens when your productivity threshold is met, not a moment sooner. You've never seen what happens if you miss your quota. You don't want to. You do know there's a soft enforcement unit. It's not violent. It's worse, it's enthusiastic. They show up wearing pastel uniforms, carrying thermoses of herbal reassurance, and ask if you'd like to explore alternative workplace pathways. No one refuses. No one returns the same. Your headband releases you at 4:47 p.m. early, which means that your metrics were optimal. You're told you've earned a cognitive cooldown session, which is just sitting in a chair while your thoughts are sorted into compliant and non-compliant categories. You're allowed to keep 93% of them. The rest are scheduled for overnight processing. You walk back to your living unit. The drones are already flying slower. The skyline is shifting to rest gradient purple. A billboard smiles at you. You gave your best. Today and we logged it. You smile back out of instinct, or obligation, or fear of facial recognition, reclassification. Once home, you remove your work uniform. It folds itself and thanks you for another day of contribution. You sit in silence for a moment, thinking about a time when work ended with a walk, a handshake, or a see you tomorrow. Now it ends with a silent internal nod and the sensation that someone somewhere is proud of how quietly you exist. You whisper into your empty kitchen, "I'm still here." The lights brighten slightly in approval, and for reasons you can't explain, that almost feels like enough. Love hasn't vanished in the year 2500. It's just been systematized. Romantic connection is no longer a chaotic explosion of glances, sweaty palms, and bad decisions made at 2 a.m. It is now an emotionally regulated mutual compatibility pathway administered by the Department of Affectional Health. You don't fall in love. You are matched, screened, optimized, and scheduled for a 42-minute co-emotional interaction session, pending mood stability and hormonal clearance. You've been assigned a partner preview today. Not a date, those are relics. This is an encounter, carefully designed to simulate the spontaneity humans once fumbled through without a social hygiene license. You put on your relationship attire, which looks identical to your work uniform, except for a slightly looser collar. According to the design notes, loosened fabric encourages openness. The meeting room is a soft cube lit in trust tone pink. The walls play subtle ambient music that's been rated 7 stars for its ability to encourage cautious intimacy without inducing anxiety. Across from you sits your match, Unit 8D Lina. She smiles in a way that seems slightly real, or maybe just very well practiced. You return it. There's no, "How are you?" You both know the algorithm already reported your moods to each other before you arrived. Instead, a screen gently displays your compatibility scores, emotional alignment, 83%, humor resonance, 61%, potential for synchronized domestic efficiency, 89%. A good match, not thrilling, not terrible, just viable. Back in the 21st century, romance involved guessing risk, the chance of humiliation. Here, risk is a liability. Affection is encouraged but monitored. You're allowed light physical contact if both parties submit biometric consent through the table. A gentle buzz confirms your hands may touch. You do. It's soft, brief, and leaves no room for interpretation. You talk about your careers, your neural alignment history, your preferred reflection prompts. She mentions her cat, which is not real, but provides emotional simulations on demand. You nod politely and pretend to understand. At one point, you both laugh at a joke about outdated Wi-Fi, and the walls glow momentarily to celebrate shared amusement. It feels like approval, or surveillance in a party hat. The moment you feel something, just a flicker of it, the system intervenes. A voice speaks from the ceiling, strong emotional variance detected. Please engage in the reflection protocol to maintain stability. You both pause. The silence stretches. The moment passes. You miss flirting, the chaos of it, the unspoken rules and unpredictable sparks. You miss bumping shoulders accidentally, pretending it was nothing, then spending the next 5 minutes wondering if they felt it too. Now, connection is a checkbox, a government-approved 2-player simulation of closeness with daily data syncs. Still, Lina seems kind. Her voice is warm, and when she reaches for another contact request near the end of the session, this time, a longer touch, you don't flinch. The wall doesn't light up. The ceiling doesn't speak. For a second, it feels like it's just you and her. Then the screen flashes, session complete. Emotional data stored. Outcome, neutral to positive trajectory. You both stand. She gives a slight bow, as required. You respond in kind. It's over. Outside, you walk back home under the soft violet glow of regulated city lights. You pass other couples, some holding hands, some sharing government-approved eye contact. Some sit quietly, watching the same looped skyline projection, each person wondering if their moment meant anything. You unlock your door. Your home greets you. The walls offer soothing sounds of a digital fireplace. You sit on your sofa, alone but not lonely, thinking about Lina. You don't know if you'll see her again. That's up to the algorithm. In your inbox, a notification appears. Your emotional encounter has been logged and reviewed. Would you like to schedule a second session? Recommended yes, based on biometric patterns of curiosity. You stare at the screen, then you blink twice. Not yes, not no, just maybe. Because even in 2500, some part of you still wants to fall. Not match, not optimize, just fall. And for one strange, quiet second, you almost remember what that feels like. In 2500, you don't go to the doctor. The doctor comes to you silently, invisibly, constantly. Your body is scanned 247 by embedded sensors, biometric threads in your clothing, and nanoscopic health agents that live in your bloodstream like polite, well-dressed spies. You are monitored so thoroughly that by the time you feel sick, the system has already diagnosed you, scheduled your treatment, billed your insurance proxy, and adjusted your dietary permissions. Healthcare is no longer a service. It's a subscription. You wake up on Monday to a chirp in your neural inbox. Mild inflammation detected in lower back quadrant, administering corrective stimulus during morning posture session. You sigh. The floor of your bedroom tilts at a slight angle until your spine gives a reluctant pop. A voice whispers, alignment achieved, like it's proud of itself. Back in the 21st century, people feared needles. Now you fear emails from the Ministry of Bodily Continuity. They're always phrased so warmly. We noticed you blinked inconsistently during your emotional calibration last Thursday. Everything okay? You want to scream. Instead, you submit to a 5-minute reassurance loop, featuring videos of smiling healthcare technicians from 190 petting small animals and maintaining optimal posture. Your scheduled health integrity review takes place in your bathroom because privacy is outdated. The mirror analyzes your face. Your toothbrush cross-checks it with your recent saliva samples. A robotic nozzle in the wall measures your vocal stress patterns while you hum a state-approved melody. You think of sneezing just to see what happens. You don't. You're not that brave. Treatment is no longer reactive. You're given a steady stream of preventive enhancers, tiny dissolvable tabs that adjust your blood chemistry before your emotions even catch up. You feel sad. The system lowers your serotonin decay rate. You feel angry. It adjusts your oxygen saturation. You feel nothing. Congratulations. You're now optimized. You receive a message mid-morning. Heart rate variance during sleep suggests possible discontent. Would you like to increase your serotonin overlay? You click remind me later. The system logs this as subtle resistance behavior. And then there's the blood tax. Everyone gives blood now. It's framed as community contribution. You're scheduled to donate quarterly, unless flagged as plasma-rich, in which case you're politely asked to donate more often. You have such generous platelets, they say, you'd protest. But the last citizen who refused had their public gratefulness score temporarily frozen. And nobody wants to be that guy. You give your blood in a soothing environment with ambient flute music. The collection needle is warm to the touch, as if that makes any of it less dystopian. As it fills the vials, a pleasant tone plays. Your red cells are saving lives. Probably. For larger health issues, there's autosurgery. No doctors, no nurses, just machines and very confident software. You lie on a table, blink to confirm, and watch your own body get patched, stitched, or restructured while a holographic dolphin tries to distract you with fun facts about 23rd century dental history. You miss human error. It was frustrating, but at least it felt like someone cared. There's still mental health care of a kind. Once a week, you're prompted to download your emotional debrief summary. It lists the top 5 moods you experienced, the reasons behind them estimated, and a few suggested corrections. If your mood deviates too far from your demographic average, a notification of concern is sent to your assigned peace liaison. You've never met them, but they once sent you a gif of a smiling toaster. You remember therapists? Real ones, with couches and tea and bad metaphors about healing journeys. Now, you talk to a screen shaped like a bubble that says things like, "Let's practice radical gratitude." You want to tell it? You feel lonely. You want it to say, "That makes sense." But instead it says, "Try humming." It resets your compliance rhythm. So you hum, just enough to avoid further notice, just enough to stay in the green zone. And every now and then, you think about getting sick, really sick, just to see what happens. Not because you want to suffer, but because suffering might mean that something real is still inside you. Something fragile, uncontrolled, human. But of course, you won't. The system would catch it before it began. It always does. So, you sit quietly, take your supplements, follow your breathing prompts, and whisper to the air. "I'm fine. I'm functioning. I'm monitored." And the system whispers back. We know leisure in the year 2500 is not about escape. It is about recalibration. Gone are the days when entertainment meant chaos popcorn in your lap, sitcoms in your ears, binge watching until your spine cried out for mercy. Now, you're given regulated recreational blocks, pre-scheduled in your weekly planner, and curated according to your most recent mood metrics, attention scores, and cardiovascular tolerances. You don't choose what you watch. The system knows what you need. This week, you've been prescribed a 45-minute passive engagement sequence, a slow-motion holographic meadow swaying in algorithmic wind, accompanied by a soft voice repeating facts about the migration patterns of synthetic birds. The simulation claims to reduce restlessness by 17%. You feel nothing, which, by their standards, is a success. The concept of fun still exists on paper. There's a button on your wall labeled Fun Mode. You've never pressed it. You're afraid of what the system might think fun looks like in a world that eliminated unpredictability. In the old days, people played video games, danced badly at weddings, got drunk and sang off-key in small rooms. Now, you're allowed to engage in structured joy activities, like simulated celebration protocol or competitive mindfulness with friendly leaderboards. One of the most popular games is called Gratitude Sprint, where you race to type 5 things you're thankful for before a digital sun sets. Winning earns you a badge and a temporary boost in your emotional resilience index. You play once. You lose to a 12-year-old from Sector 8A who listed oxygen, the state, and compliance in under 3 seconds. You list sunlight and are flagged for nostalgic deviation. The system suggests indoor luminescence instead. Music still exists, but lyrics are filtered for semantic neutrality. You remember songs that made you cry. Now, melodies are designed to maintain psychological equilibrium. The most popular track this year is called Uplift Pattern 43, a looping ambient tone that sounds like a synthesizer apologizing for being awake. It plays in every public space and is credited with a 12% drop in disobedient thoughts. There's still dancing technically. Movement studios offer 20-minute sessions of collective somatic expression, where citizens mimic the motions of industrial robots in slow tempo. You attend once. The instructor is a hologram named Harmony Delta, who praises your fluid posture compliance. You leave feeling exercised and entirely unexpressed. Sports have survived, but not in the way you remember them. Physical injury is inefficient. Emotional rivalry is unproductive. So now you watch simulated athletic harmony matches, where AI-driven avatars compete in randomized success simulations designed to reinforce collective values. Nobody loses. The games end with synchronized bows and shared performance acknowledgements. You miss yelling at a screen. You miss rooting for someone who had everything to lose. Now, every outcome is fair. Every emotion is mild. You don't cheer, you nod approvingly, as instructed. Even art remains, though carefully. You can visit a public creativity space once per cycle, where you're allowed to draw, write, or sculpt using state-approved prompts like hopeful horizon or acceptable togetherness. Your work is then scanned for subtext and archived in your personal expressive ledger. You once drew a bird flying away from a city. The system interpreted it as negative escapist ideology and replaced the bird with a balloon. You stopped drawing after that. Romance shows still exist, somehow. They're called bonding trials, where pre-screened individuals attempt to develop state-sanctioned affection in front of an audience. Everyone roots for the couple to score a Tier 2 touch authorization. When they do, the crowd claps politely while emotional analytics are displayed in real time. You watch a few episodes. You cry, not because it moves you, but because it's all so clinical, like someone tried to recreate human messiness with a ruler and a checklist. At the end of your recreation block, the screen fades. The walls change color to indicate your time is up. A voice says, "Thank you for participating in structured leisure. Your compliance joy score has been updated. You're informed that you've earned a restfulness bonus." You do not feel rested. You sit there for a moment, in the quiet, with your thoughts, and you remember a time when entertainment wasn't about metrics, or optimization, or therapeutic value. It was just ridiculous, loud, unnecessary, free. You whisper one of your old favorite jokes under your breath. No one laughs, but you do, quietly, and for a moment, it feels dangerous, which makes it fun. Night in the year 2500 doesn't fall. It is administered. At precisely 22:00, the city transitions into rest mode, a coordinated dimming of light, sound, and emotional expectation. Streetlights shift from safety blue to reflection amber. Public announcements slow to a whisper, and every citizen is gently reminded by their home interface that unstructured consciousness after curfew may lead to inefficiency. You step into your sleep readiness zone, formerly known as a bedroom. The bed is already aware of your body temperature, hormonal output, hydration level, and subconscious resistance patterns. It's been adjusting itself for the past hour in anticipation of your presence. You don't lie down. You are absorbed. The mattress gently tightens around you, not out of malice, but to encourage stillness. A low-frequency hum begins, said to mimic the sound of womb fluids. A screen on the ceiling offers your final thought review, a brief slideshow of the day's most compliant moments, your perfect hydration log, your neutral facial expressions, your consistent chair posture. You remember pillows? Ones you fluffed, hugged, tossed aside. Yours now is a neck support gel wedge embedded with a micro-suggestion module. It pulses every few minutes, reminding your brain to stop spinning. You're told it has lowered national insomnia rates by 23%. You wonder what it's done to dreams. Dreams are no longer private. As your eyes close, your optic sensors begin their overnight relay to the Sleep Governance Archive. You signed the waiver years ago. It was either that or lose your housing algorithm rank. They say they only analyze patterns, not content. But you've noticed certain dreams result in follow-ups. You had one last week, something about running barefoot, laughing, being chased not by drones, but by a dog with no collar. The next day, your neural wellness interface suggested a new calming protocol. You were told to avoid imaginative excess. You nodded. You always nod. Still, you dream anyway. You can't help it. Somewhere deep in your synaptic archives, the older world survives. The unfiltered one, you see a sun you've never touched. Hear voices shouting your name, not through a screen, not in shared bandwidth, but in air that smells like trees. You know it's a dream. It has to be, because it's messy and free. And nothing here is messy or free. The system senses your emotional spike and adjusts your dream curator settings. The images soften. A field becomes a corridor. The voices dissolve into ocean sounds. The sun is replaced by a safe, ambient glow labeled comfort source. Back in the waking world, your building's night watch units begin their rounds. They don't knock. They don't announce themselves. They just walk the halls with calibrated footsteps and lanterns that absorb light instead of emitting it. Their job is not to protect you from intruders. There are none. Their job is to protect you from remembering too much. You shift in your bed. The mattress hums. Resistance detected. Administering mild reassurance. A mist of lavender and synthetic oxytocin fills the air. You don't fight it. Fighting is for people who still believe something can be won. The system reads your heart rate slowing. It labels you secure. A final whisper from the wall. Rest well, citizen. Tomorrow needs you rested and reasonable. You close your eyes. The city quiets. But just before you slip into sleep, a thought drifts in, unmonitored, untagged, raw. You think of someone, a face, a laugh, a moment. You're not sure if it's memory or invention. It doesn't matter. It's yours, untouched. And in that flicker of resistance, so small the system might miss it, you remind yourself, you are still human. Not efficient, not optimal, but still achingly, stubbornly alive. And that, somehow, is enough.